When I started out with filmmaking, the piece of advice I got the most was to try and make as many different films as possible. And for me, that meant YouTube videos, spec projects, and when I was lucky, a chance to work on other people's projects too. But eventually, as I started shooting and editing full-time, I stopped making these personal projects and mainly focused on producing the videos that I was paid to produce at work, which is also awesome. I do love the work that I do. But because of this, I felt like my growth has become a bit one-dimensional. I've been shooting the same things over and over again, which means I rarely really have to try anything new. So this year, I decided I would change that and work on a couple personal passion projects too. But then the question becomes, what do you make a film about? If you're anything like me, you don't have a huge list of ideas just sitting in the bank ready to go. So for a while, I was just staring at a blank page, and then I was staring at Instagram. But this was one of those rare times where Instagram actually held the answer to the question I was looking for. I just had to make a film about one of my friends. The beauty about shooting a profile about one of your friends is that you don't necessarily need a crazy idea or a crazy story behind the whole film. Because if you like and if you let it, the story can sort of write itself as you're shooting. And that's exactly what we did with Luke. We basically just showed up to his house, spent about 4 hours shooting some B-roll and an interview, and then I went and shot one of his shows as well, and that was pretty much it. Importantly though, it allowed me to shoot in a style I hadn't in a long time. I went a lot warmer than I usually do at work, and a lot of the shots that I took were a lot darker than I usually go. Obviously the lighting scenario, shooting in someone's house is so different to shooting in a stadium, so I guess it just refreshed some of the creative muscles that I hadn't used in a long time. I shot this with my really talented friend Kira, and as we walked in, she noticed that the light coming in through the window in Luke's living room just looked absolutely amazing, so we decided we would start shooting there just to take advantage of that light. And that ability to notice where good lighting is and to find good angles is so important, and these types of low-stakes shoots, shooting with your friends, is a great time to train your eye for that. One of the craziest things about being a creative is that having fun is actually an important part of the work. I've chatted with many more experienced filmmakers than I am about what life on set looks like, and a lot of them have mentioned that one of the most important things they look for when trying to build a crew or looking for people to work with is how good of an experience it is to work with that person. Essentially, how good of a person they are. At the start, it actually kind of surprised me that people would rather go for a slight drop-off in quality, but have a better time and have a better experience creating the art. But more and more, that makes sense to me. We all have creative energies, and we need to be around the right people in order to cultivate that and do our best work. I guess that kind of leads back to shooting with friends. It gives you an opportunity to know what it feels like to be relaxed on set, to know what it's like to just go out and have fun, which weirdly might be an important skill when you go and work on more professional environments. I think it can be easy to be really stressed when going into a big set, but if you've had experience on smaller sets and just fun shoots that you've been on with friends, you'll know what it feels like to just have fun, and you can kind of take that experience onto the bigger sets when you work in a more professional environment, which is kind of a weird concept, practicing having fun while you're shooting, but I think if you think about it a bit, it makes a bit of sense. So by making this YouTube video, it had got me thinking about previous personal projects that I had worked on, projects that had given me the opportunity to try these crazy ideas that I have in my head, perhaps ideas that were slightly dangerous or that required the camera to go in a little bit of a precarious position. And I realized that on a more professional set, maybe that wouldn't have been possible. On bigger sets, there's a whole bunch of red tape that you have to go through, rightly so, to be honest. But when you're just doing it yourself, doing it with your friends, you're down to try these crazy things, and you never know what kind of shots you're going to come out with. For instance, just lighting a couch on fire for a music video, that's an absolutely crazy idea that I don't think I will ever do again, but I'm really happy I did it, and I got one of the best shots I've ever got in my life. But another important thing is that these projects I did before eventually helped me land the job I'm currently at right now. I was chatting with my boss the other day, and he mentioned that this Nike spec ad that I made was one of the biggest reasons that he hired me. So if you're a young filmmaker and you want to find some full-time work sometime in the future, I think the best piece of advice I could give you is just to try and make as many different films as you can. Get all your crazy ideas that you have in your head out, into your portfolio, into your passion projects, and hopefully one of those will be the portfolio piece that helps you get your next job. So I think even in the fast-paced world of filmmaking, it's important to step back a little bit and just make a film for the sake of it. And I think one of the best ways to do that is just to make a profile about a friend. You're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. They're gonna really appreciate it because they're gonna have this film that shows where they're at this point in time, that they can show their friends and share online, and it's all like a really cool experience and really fun. And I think having fun is just such an important part of the art of filmmaking. It can be really easy when you're working full-time to just get bogged down in completing the work that you're paid to do and then kind of shutting off. But I think it's really important to continue doing the projects that I guess got us into filmmaking in the first place. It's important to just keep doing it for the sake of the art. I think it's easy to forget that this is an art and not just a job. So yeah, making a film about a friend is just a great way to remind yourself to just have fun and make art. And that's what I'll leave you guys with. Make art and have fun doing it. All right, see ya.